Hello students, Manjunath here. So in the previous class we had discussed about the theory part or the synopsis part of the chapter, that is reproduction in organisms, and in this class we are going to discuss about the multiple choice questions. Okay, let us start the discussion of questionnaire. So here comes the question. The first question is the period from birth to natural death of an organism. Okay, the period from birth to natural death of an organism is called as, okay, the period from birth to natural death of an organism is known as. So the options are: first one, lifespan; option B, vegetative phase; option C, reproductive phase; option D, vegetative propagation. So when you observe this question, it is a direct question. You can easily say that the option is a lifespan. That is option A, answer option A, lifespan. So coming to the other options, what these exactly mean? Okay, because when you are solving any of the multiple choice questions, you should not only be aware of the answer, but you should also be aware of the other options, whether they may be related or not. Okay, that is why before going to opt for the answer, let us confirm that whether other options may be right or else they are exactly wrong. Okay, you know that the option A is right, that is the lifespan. Okay, option A, lifespan, is correct, but why these are wrong and what they mean, that you have to make it confirmed, right? So option B, vegetative phase. So here it is not the phase from birth to natural death, but it is the phase of lifespan or the life from birth to maturation phase. Okay, birth to maturation phase is vegetative phase, right? And after maturation phase, it comes to what? A reproductive phase, that is option C. Okay, and what is vegetative propagation? It is a type of asexual reproduction found in the what? The plants. It is a type of asexual reproduction found in the plants. So all these three options are not at all related to what? This particular sentence. That is why the option A is correct, that is lifespan. The period from natural death of an organism is known as lifespan. So coming to the second question. So I'll start marking the answers. Right. The first one is lifespan. Then second, a biological process in which an organism gives rise to young ones is called. Okay, a biological process in which an organism gives rise to young ones. Okay, option A, reproduction; option B, regeneration; option C, respiration; option D, assimilation. You already know that the respiration and assimilation are not at all related to the reproduction or formation of or giving birth to the young one. Okay, so option C and D are cancelled here, or they, you can take off the option C and D. Coming to other two options, that is reproduction and regeneration. Both of these two individuals or both of these two options seem to be very similar, but there is a difference. Okay, here regeneration, okay, the regeneration means only the development of a particular part which has lost. Okay, regeneration means not the complete development of an organism. Instead, it is referred to the development of only a part of the organism. Say for example, in case of the fishes, okay, the fin regeneration can be seen. In case of the flatworms, okay, regeneration can be seen. Okay, especially the planaria. In case of planaria, you can see the regeneration. In case of lizards, the tail regeneration can be seen. But the thing, regeneration is nothing but the development, redevelopment of only the lost part, not the complete organism. But reproduction is nothing but what? Giving birth to complete organisms. So the answer here is reproduction. The biological process in which an organism gives rise to young ones is called as reproduction. The next one is Offsprings are produced asexually by the participation of. That means what they have asked, asexual reproduction involves how many parents? Asexual reproduction involves how many parents? Option A, single parent, or option B, two organisms, option C, group of organisms, option D, two organisms of the opposite sex. Okay. So here, coming to the last one, option D, two organisms of opposite sex or two organisms of the same sex. So it is involving two organisms. So if two organisms are involved, then it cannot be called as asexual reproduction. So that option D is wrong. Then option C, group of organisms they have given. So in case of asexual reproduction, only one organism is used or only one organism is involved. That is why option C is wrong. Option B is also wrong. So the right answer is option A. So offsprings are produced by asexual means, okay, by means of what? A single organism or single parent. Then coming to the next question, that is fourth question. Fusion of male and female gamete involves. Okay, the fusion of male and female gamete is seen in dash. Okay, you know that fusion of male and female gamete, okay, involves in, okay, sexual type of reproduction. Okay, so the answer is C. Directly you can write it. But what is vegetative propagation? It is a type of asexual reproduction which do not involve any fusion of gamete. And option B, asexual reproduction, you already know there is no fusion of gamete. And option D, reproduction by buds. Reproduction by buds is also a type of asexual reproduction. That is why again there will be no fusion of gametes. Coming to the next question, that is fifth one, binary fission with unequal cell division occurs. Okay, binary fission with unequal cell division occurs in dash. Option A, yeast, option B, amoeba, option C, chlamydomonas, and option D, penicillium. Out of these, as we have already discussed in the theory part, you know that the yeast will show the budding type of what? Asexual reproduction. Okay, in the yeast you can see budding type of asexual reproduction. In the chlamydomonas, it will form the zoospores. In the penicillium, you can see the formation of conidia, and only in case of amoeba you can see what? Only in case of amoeba. Okay, only in case of amoeba you can see the binary fission with unequal type of cell division. Right? Here, unequal cell division means size of the cell, not related to what? The chromosome. Okay, size of the cell. One cell may be larger or another cell may be smaller, like that. Right? So coming to the next one, sixth question. Offsprings produced by asexual reproduction are. I repeat the question. Offsprings produced by asexual reproduction are dash. Okay. First one, identical among themselves and differ with their parents. Second, differ among themselves and identical with their parents. Option C, identical among themselves and to their parents also. Option D, differ among themselves and with their parents also. So read the question carefully. Offsprings produced by asexual reproduction. Here they have clearly mentioned asexual. Asexual reproduction means the offsprings which are produced are called as clones. When they can be called as clones? They should be morphologically and genetically identical to their parents. Okay, so that is why the option C, see here, identical among themselves as well as to their parents. So that will be the correct option here, because asexual reproduction does not involve any of the what variations or any of the recombinations. Since there is no recombination, since there is no variation, then the offsprings cannot be having any changes among themselves. they will be similar to themselves as well as they will be similar to their parents. Okay, that is why option C, identical among themselves and also to their parents. So that is the correct option. Next, coming to the next question, that is the sexual reproduction involves, okay, sexual reproduction involves dash. The sexual reproduction involves, okay, option A, fusion of gametes, option B, absence of gametes, option C, formation of gametes, option D, either absence or formation of gametes. Okay, see here, sexual reproduction, okay, sexual reproduction involves. You already know that. What is sexual reproduction? It is a type of reproduction that involves fusion of gametes. So the question is very direct here, and the first option itself is there, that is fusion of gametes. Okay. Then coming to 8th question, cell division itself is a mode of reproduction in. Cell division itself is a mode of reproduction in. Option A, prokaryotes only. Option B, eukaryotes only. Option C, protists only. Option D, protists and monerans. So, to know the answer, first you have to know what are prokaryotes, what are eukaryotes, what are protists and what are monerans. So, I'll just explain you what are prokaryotes, eukaryotes, monerans and protists. Coming to the first one, that is prokaryotes. Prokaryotes, pro means what? Primitive. Karyon means nucleus. So these prokaryotes are nothing but organisms having primitive nucleus. Prokaryotes are nothing but what? Organisms having primitive nucleus. That means, what do you mean by primitive nucleus? The nuclear envelope will not be there. Nucleus without nuclear envelope are called as the prokaryotes. Say for example the bacterians. Then eukaryotes, organisms having nuclear envelope or the cells having nuclear envelope. Okay, that means nuclear membrane will be present, right? Eukaryotes, all the higher organisms. Protists and monerans. Okay, you have studied about 5 kingdom classification of R.H. Whittaker. Okay, Monera, Protista, Mycota, Metaphyta and Metazoa. About 5 kingdom you have studied. And what about the first 2 kingdom? That is Monera and Protista. Monerans are nothing but unicellular organisms. Okay, what are monerans? Unicellular, okay, and eukaryotic organisms. And what about protists? Okay, monerans are unicellular organisms and protists, they are also unicellular organisms. Okay, monerans and protists. Here, instead of eukaryote or prokaryote, in all the unicellular organisms, cell division itself will be what? The type of reproduction or the mode of reproduction. Okay, both in case of Monera and Protista, you can see unicellular organisms. Okay, that is why in case of both Monera and Protista, okay, what will happen? The type of reproduction is nothing but what? The cell division itself. Coming to the next one, that is common asexual reproductive structures in case of sponges. Okay, common asexual reproductive structures. Sponges will be showing what? Gemmules as well as buds as their asexual reproductive structures. Conidia are not seen in the sponges as well as zoospores are not seen in the sponges. So option B and D will be deleted as it is, and remaining are 2, the gemmules and buds. Out of these 2, which are the common reproductive structures that are found in the what? The sponges. In case of sponges, you can see both gemmules as well as buds. But which is most common? Okay, which is most common in the sponges? Antandre, gemmules are the most common structures which are found only in the sponges as asexual reproductive structures. Gemmules are found only in what? the sponges as asexual reproductive structures, right? That is why the option A, gemmules, is the right one here. Right? Coming to the 10th question. Okay. Asexual reproductive structures in Chlamydomonas is. Asexual reproductive structure in Chlamydomonas is. Option A, non-motile microscopic structure. Option B, non-motile macroscopic structure. Option C, motile macroscopic structure. And option D, motile microscopic structure. See here, Chlamydomonas, as we have already discussed about Chlamydomonas in the previous part, it is an algae, okay, which will be having motile structures, okay, which will be having motile structures, okay. Asexual reproductive structures in the Chlamydomonas are motile structures. But these motile structures, whether they are microscopic or macroscopic, okay, microscopic means they are very tiny, very smaller in their size, okay, they can be seen only under the microscope, okay, and macroscopic means they are visible under the naked eyes, okay, they are visible to our naked eyes. So here the answer is no doubt they are motile. That means option C and option D. In this only the answer should be. Option A and B will be deleted. So in case of Chlamydomonas, the structures which are produced as asexual reproductive part, okay, they are what? Motile and microscopic in nature. Okay, they will not be macroscopic, they will be microscopic in nature. Is that clear? So the option is motile microscopic structures, right? So next question, 11th question. The terror of Bengal is dash. The terror of Bengal. As we have already discussed about this one, terror of Bengal, I have told you in the previous video. Okay, I have discussed with you in the previous video about what? Terror of Bengal. Okay, the terror of Bengal is nothing but, okay, option A, water lily, option B, water hyacinth, option C, bryophyllum, and option D, ginger. Okay, so before going to solve this question, I'll just brief you one particular incident that has happened in the Bengal. Okay, in Bengal, a particular aquatic plant, okay, a particular aquatic plant called as terror of Bengal was just introduced into the ponds there and water bodies, which have spread over all the water bodies in such a way that all the ponds in Bengal, okay, they got dried up. Okay, that is why it is called as terror of Bengal. Okay, the plant was spread in such a way that complete water bodies in the Bengal, they were almost got dried up. Okay, due to that the plant name was given as terror of Bengal. Why the water bodies got dried up? Because this particular plant spread in that way. Okay, it is a very fast spreader. Okay, so out of these four plants, which is called as terror of Bengal? Okay, water lily, water hyacinth, bryophyllum, and ginger. You already know bryophyllum and ginger are not the aquatic plants. Okay, water lily, water hyacinth, out of these two, okay, the answer is water hyacinth, which is called as terror of Bengal. Okay, water hyacinth is called as what? Terror of Bengal. Okay, the option is option B, terror of Bengal is nothing but what? Water hyacinth. Okay, coming to the next question, that is 12th one. Offsets are asexual reproductive structures in dash. Offsets are asexual reproductive structures. You already know that offsets are the asexual reproductive structures found in the aquatic plants. As I have discussed in the earlier video, you know that asexual reproductive structures in aquatic plants are nothing but what? Offsets. Aquatic plant ಒಳಗಡೆ ಬರುವಂತ asexual reproductive structure ಯಾವುದಂದ್ರೆ offset. And if you get success to find out which is particular the aquatic plant in these options, then you will get the answer. Bryophyllum, first of all, it is not an aquatic plant. Ginger is not an aquatic plant again. Banana is not an aquatic plant again. Then the option left is Eichhornia. Eichhornia is an aquatic plant in which the asexual reproductive structure is nothing but what? Offset. Okay. In other aquatic plants such as Pistia and offset, even you can see the same in the Pistia. Okay, Pistia, the name of the plant, Pistia, Pistia. In Pistia as well as in case of the Eichhornia. And to remember that, what is Eichhornia? Nothing but the name of, scientific name of what? Terror of Bengal. Water hyacinth ಇಗಿರುವಂತ ಒಂದು ಸೈಂಟಿಫಿಕ್ ನೇಮ್ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಯಾವುದು? The Eichhornia. Eichhornia species we call it as, in common Eichhornia species we call it as, right? So the option is Eichhornia. Eichhornia is the aquatic plant that can spread or that will show the asexual reproduction by means of what? The offsets. Right. Coming to the next one, that is 13th question. Bryophyllum reproduces asexually by. Bryophyllum reproduces asexually by option A, leaf buds, option B, runners, option C, offset, option D, rhizome. Okay. Bryophyllum, okay, in general it is called as Brahma Kamala. Okay, the Brahma Kamala or Bryophyllum reproduces asexually by means of what? Okay, option A, leaf bud, option B, runner, option C, offset, and option D, rhizome. Out of these, offset is cancelled first. Option C can be taken off very easily. Why? Because offset is the reproductive structure in aquatic plants, not on the terrestrial plants. Right? Option C is cut down. Then rhizome is modified what? Stem it is. It is a modified stem for the what? Asexual type of reproduction. So option D can also be taken out. Do remember, rhizome is what? Modified stem for the purpose of asexual reproduction. Even runners are what? The structures, asexually reproducive structures that are modified stem again. Okay. In case of Bryophyllum, the reproduction will take place with the help of leaf buds. Okay. In case of Bryophyllum, the important character of Bryophyllum is, or the important nature of Bryophyllum is, reproduction takes place by means of leaf buds. Clear? Next one. In algae and fungi, mode of reproduction occurs in adverse condition. Okay. In algae and fungi, this mode of reproduction occurs in adverse conditions. Do remember that in case of algae and fungi, the mode of reproduction that occurs in what? Adverse condition is option A, vegetative type, option B, asexual type, option C, sexual type, and option D, both asexual and sexual type. So here the answer is sexual type. Okay, the answer is sexual type. Why? Because in case of algae and fungi, the reproduction which is predominant or which is most common is what? Asexual type. Okay, asexual or vegetative type. Because when they get proper conditions, proper climatic conditions, they will start reproducing in higher number by means of asexual reproductive structures. But in case of harsh climatic conditions or harsh or adverse conditions, okay, they will go for sexual type of reproduction. Okay, by means of sexual type of reproduction, what they can form is, they can form a particular cyst-like structure which is more resistant to the adverse conditions. Okay, and in the harsh conditions, they will have the chances of getting variations. Okay, better variations can be developed. Okay, better variations can be developed. For that purpose, the algae and fungi show the sexual type of or sexual mode of reproduction in the adverse conditions. Right? Coming to the next question. The mode of reproduction exhibited by higher plants is, okay, the mode of reproduction exhibited by higher plants. What do you mean by higher plants here? The higher plants is nothing but the angiosperms. Okay, in angiosperms, mode of reproduction is dash. Option A, asexual only. Option B, sexual only. Then option C, both A and B. Option D, A or B. Okay, here in case of angiosperms, you can see the development of flowers for the sexual type of reproduction, and even asexual type of reproduction can also be seen in the angiosperms, as in case of leaf buds, okay, in the bryophyllum, and the runner, sucker, offset, okay. All these are what? Asexually reproductive structures in the higher plant itself. That means, in case of higher plants, both sexual and asexual type of reproductions can be seen. So the answer is both A and B. Right? Coming to the next question. Mode of reproduction exhibited by most of animals is dash. Mode of reproduction exhibited by most of the animals is, okay. Generally, animals will show what? Sexual type of reproduction only with some exceptions, okay. Only with some exceptions, or only in some exceptions a sexual type can be seen. But according to the question, they have asked the type of reproduction in most of the animals. If they have asked in most of the animals, then ultimately the answer will be sexual type only. Okay? Yakantandre, in case of animals, sexual type of reproduction is predominant. Only in few organisms or only in few animals, it is asexual. Then coming to the next question, that is, algae and fungi survives adverse conditions by forming. Algae and fungi survives adverse conditions by forming. Option A, zygote. Option B, zygophore. Option C, gamete. Then option D, zygospore. Very easier one here, as we have already discussed about the same and similar question in the previous one. That is, look at the 14th question. In algae and fungi, mode of reproduction occurs in adverse condition is sexual type, as you already know. And 17th question is also very similar to the same thing. Algae and fungi survives adverse condition by forming zygote, zygophore, then gamete, then zygospore. Okay, students, do remember that spore is, okay, S-P-O-R-E, spore. Spore is the hard covering, okay, that will be formed, hard covering layer that will be formed around a particular cell. Okay, and zygospore is nothing but what? It is a structure which is formed by means of what? Zygote, and which is covered by a spore on the outer side. If the zygote is covered by a spore layer, it will be called as what? Zygospore. Okay, and this zygospore will be helping out the algae and fungi to survive the harsh climatic conditions out there. Is that clear? Okay, coming to the next question, that is, adventitious epiphyllous buds are present in. Okay, adventitious epiphyllous buds are present in dash. So the first option is leaf margin of bryophyllum, leaf apex of bryophyllum, then leaf base of bryophyllum, and last one is nodes of banana. So adventitious epiphyllous buds are present in dash. The answer is, see, in the three options they have given bryophyllum itself, and option D they have given banana. So in the banana you cannot see any of the epiphyllous buds. So banana is not the answer. So option D will not be the answer. You can take it off very easily. So the point here is epiphyllous means what? Phyllous means the leaf. Epiphyllous, that means above the leaf. Okay. Adventitious buds which are found on the leaf are called as epiphyllous leaf buds. Okay, or epiphyllous buds you can call it as. So they will be present in the bryophyllum itself, and in particular they have asked whether in the bryophyllum these buds are found at the margin or at the base or at the apex. So you already know that in the previous video I have shown you in the diagram itself. Okay, I have drawn it and I have shown you. The leaf buds in the bryophyllum will be present at the leaf margin. Okay, the leaf buds will be present at the leaf margin. Is that clear? So that is called as what? The adventitious epiphyllous buds of the bryophyllum will be present on the leaf margin. That option is, that is first one, that is what? Leaf margin. The next one, sexual reproduction involves dash. It involves option A, fusion of spores, option B, fusion of gametes, option C, fusion of zygotes, option D, fusion of vegetative propagules. Okay, here the sexual reproduction involves not the fusion of spores, not the fusion of zygote, not the fusion of vegetative propagules, but it involves the fusion of what? Gametes. Because gametes are haploid in nature, not the zygote, not the vegetative propagules, not the spores, and spores will not be fused together. Right? So the option is fusion of gametes. Okay? Then 20th question. In animals, the stage before reproductive phase is called. In animals, the stage before reproductive phase is called. Option A, vegetative phase. Option B, reproductive phase. Option C, juvenile phase. Option D, senescence phase. See here, in case of plants, you can call it as vegetative phase. But they are asking, what about the animals? Okay. In case of plants, you can say that the option A is correct. But in case of animals, option A will not hold good. Okay. In case of animals, option C is the proper one. Okay. Option C, that is juvenile phase. In case of animals, the stage before reproduction is called as, okay, juvenile phase, and the stage at reproduction is called reproductive phase, and the stage after reproduction is called as what? Senescence phase. Do remember, what is senescence phase? It is the stage after reproduction. Okay, that means it is the end stage where the animal or the plant, the animal or the organism could not reproduce further. Okay, the end stage or the aged stage. Right. Then the next question, 21st. In higher plants, the beginning of reproductive phase indicated by, okay, the beginning of reproductive phase in higher plants. Do remember, if they have mentioned about the higher plants, here the higher plant indicates what? Angiosperms. And in the angiosperms, okay, in the angiosperms, what will happen? The reproductive phase can be indicated by the very important character of angiosperms, that is production of flowers. Okay, and after flower production, what will happen? The seeds will be formed, fruits will be formed. Okay, but first step in the angiosperms to start with reproductive phase is what? Production of the flowers. Okay, after production of flowers only further steps will take place. Clear? Next one, Neelakuranji can produce flowers. Okay, as we have already discussed about this point, I told you it is very important for the NEET point, right? So Neelakuranji can produce the flowers. Okay, option A, once in 12 years. Option B, once in 21 years. Option C, once in 122 years. Option D, once in 112 years. That means 112 years. So here You know already Neelakuranji, which is also called as Strobilanthes kunthiana. Okay, the Strobilanthes kunthiana or Neelakuranji can produce the flower in every 12 years. Okay, once in every 12 years it will produce the flowers. Right. Coming to the next one. In animals, beginning of reproductive phase shows dash. In animals, beginning of reproductive phase shows option A, morphological changes only, option B, physiological changes only, option C, both A and B, option D, neither morphological nor physiological changes. So here, in case of animals, during the time of reproductive phase, both morphological as well as physiological changes can be seen. Right. So the option A and B both are correct. That is why both are there in option C. So C is the option, or C is the correct answer. Right. Okay, coming to the next question, that is, the cyclical changes occur in the females of placental mammals in reproductive phase is due to. Okay, the question is, cyclical changes that occur in the female of placental mammals in the reproductive phase is due to option A, hormones, option B, the activities of ovaries and other ducts, coming to the next question, that is, cyclical changes occur in the females of placental mammals in reproductive phase is due to. Okay. Option A, hormones. Option B, activities of ovaries and other ducts. Option C, environment only, and option D, both A and B. Okay. Here, 24th question. The cyclical changes occur in the females of placental mammals in reproductive phase is due to. Okay. The cyclical changes, it means the reproductive cycle occurs in the female placental mammals. Okay, reproductive cycles in the female placental mammals is nothing but the estrous cycle and the menstrual cycle. Both menstrual cycle and estrous cycle occur in the female placental mammals because of, okay, option A, hormones, option B, activities of ovaries and other ducts, option C, environment only, and option D, both A and B. So here, the cyclical changes are controlled by hormones, as well as these hormones are released by the ovaries, and during this particular time, in the ovaries, the development of the ovum can be seen. That is, the oogenesis can be seen. That is why the option will be both A and B. Option D is the correct answer here. Coming to the next one. So in the 24th question, option D is correct answer. Coming to the next question, that is, menstrual cycle occur in. Okay. So I first of all want to make you clear that what is menstrual cycle. Okay. Menstrual cycle is nothing but the reproductive cycle found in the female primate mammals. Okay. Here, in case of mammals, the reproductive cycles are found. Okay, particularly in the female mammals, we can see the reproductive cycles. And those reproductive cycles in the female primate mammals are called as what? Menstrual cycle. And in the non-primate female mammals, the reproductive cycle is called as estrous cycle. Okay, coming to the question, that is, menstrual cycle occurs in, as I have told you, the menstrual cycle will be the reproductive cycle found in case of what? Primate female mammals, not in all the mammals, but it is taking place in what? The primate female mammals. Okay, coming to the next question, 26th. Seasonal breeders develop cyclical changes during. Okay, seasonal breeders develop the cyclical changes during. That means, in case of seasonal breeders, the reproductive cycle begins at, okay, which particular of the following? Option first one, unfavorable conditions of reproductive phase. Option B, favorable conditions of reproductive phase. Option C, favorable conditions of vegetative phase, option D, unfavorable conditions of vegetative phase. See, look at this particular point. Here, in case of vegetative phase, there will be no particular sexual or reproductive cycle that take place. The reproductive cycle takes place only in the reproductive phase. So, option C and D will be deleted. So, either option A or option B will be the correct answer, and out of these two, let us see which is the answer. So, seasonal breeders develop cyclical changes. That means the reproductive cycle in the seasonal breeders will be initiated in unfavorable conditions and in the favorable conditions. Actually, in case of seasonal breeders, the reproductive cycle will be taking place in the favorable conditions only, not in the unfavorable condition. That is why the option B, favorable conditions of reproductive cycle, is the right one. Coming to the next question, that is, process refers to the formation of gamete is called. That is, what do you mean by the formation of gamete? Okay, direct answer is there, gametogenesis. The process of formation of gamete is called as gametogenesis. And the process of formation of the spore is called sporogenesis. And what are post-fertilization changes? These are the changes that occur soon after fertilization. Okay, and last one, what is fertilization? The process of union of male and female gamete is called as fertilization. So here what they have asked, the process of formation of gamete, that is nothing but gametogenesis. Right? Coming to the next question, that is 28th. The end of reproductive phase is one of the parameter for considering dash. The end of reproductive phase is the parameter for considering dash. The option A, onset of senescence phase, option B, onset of vegetative phase, option C, end of senescence phase, and option D, end of vegetative phase. Okay, students, remember that in the life cycle of an organism, first comes the vegetative phase, next the reproductive phase, and lastly the senescent phase. Okay, and the question according to the question, which is the next phase of reproductive phase, or which is the next phase that comes after reproductive phase? So directly you can write it as the senescent phase. Okay, option A, that is senescent phase. Then question number 29th. Isogametes are, okay, isogametes are dash. Haploid gametes which are not morphologically distinct, haploid gametes which are morphologically distinct, diploid gametes which are morphologically distinct, then diploid gametes which are morphologically not distinct. So here, first of all, you know that gametes will be always haploid. Okay, the gametes will be always haploid, or most commonly the gametes will be haploid in nature. So option C and option D will be deleted immediately, because in the option C and option D they have given the diploid gametes, right? Gametes will be usually haploid, that's why option C and D can be deleted. So coming to the next, option A or option B will be the answer, and let's read them again. Option A, haploid gametes which are not morphologically distinct, that means they are morphologically same. In the option B, what they have given? Morphologically distinct, that means they will be different from each other. Here the word iso means same. Okay, the word iso means same. So what are isogametes? The morphologically indistinct, that means morphologically similar gametes are called as isogametes. So option A will be the answer. 30th question. Name the gametes produced by staminate flower. Okay, name the gametes that are produced by staminate flower. Do you remember that? What is staminate flower? First of all, staminate flower is the flower in which female gametes will not be produced, only male gametes are produced. Okay, staminate flowers are the flowers in which only male gametes are produced. Okay, that is why here the answer is male gamete. Directly you can write option C, male gamete. Okay, next question. Ovum is produced by staminate flowers, pistillate flowers, pistillode flowers, then staminode flowers. So do remember here, ovum is produced by, okay, option A staminate flower, pistillate flower, then C pistillode flower and staminode. Do remember that the word staminode, option D, the word staminode means, okay, the word staminode means sterile flower, okay, then or sterile stamens it is called, okay, it is known as sterile stamens. Pistillode means sterile pistil, okay, staminate, okay, staminate flower means what? The flower having only stamens, and ovum is not produced by all these three. Ovum is produced by pistillate flower. So what do you mean by pistillate flower? Pistillate means, okay, the flower having only pistil, okay, it is called pistillate flower. So the option B is correct answer here. The next one, 32nd. The plant with highest number of chromosome is, okay, the plant with highest number of chromosome, okay, option A angiosperm, option D pteridophyte, option C gymnosperm, option D algae. Do remember here the Ophioglossum, okay, is an example for the plant having highest number of chromosome, which is a pteridophyte or which is a fern, okay. Option B is the right answer here. Okay. Next one. Specialized events in the following plants which facilitates the transfer of pollen grain is, okay, very simple. The event for in the flowering plants that facilitate the transfer of pollen grain, simply by looking at the word, that is, or the phrase, that is transfer of pollen grain, just you can easily answer this question. Transfer of pollen grains is nothing but what? Pollination, okay. Transfer of pollen grains means pollination, okay. The process of transfer of pollen grains from anther to the stigmatic surface, okay, is called pollination. Directly from the definition they have asked this question, right? The answer is pollination. Next, 34th. Essential event for fertilization is, essential event for fertilization is, option A syngamy, option B formation of gamete, option C transfer and coming together of the gametes, option D parthenogenesis. See here what they have asked, essential event for fertilization, that means fertilization ಆಗಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗಬೇಕು. So let us look at the options. Option D ನೋಡ್ರಿ, parthenogenesis, it is nothing but what? The development of the individual without fertilization, okay, development of the individual without fertilization. So this will not be the answer. Next, the transfer and coming together. So when the gamete transfer take place, then what will happen? The gametes will come together, but it will not lead to fertilization. When the gametes are coming very near to each other, it will not the confirmative step of fertilization. If the fertilization has to be taken place, or if the fertilization have to be taken place, then what should happen? The fusion of nuclei, the fusion of cells or the fusion of gametes should take place, right? That is why option A, syngamy, nothing but fusion of gametes. So that should take place. Coming to the next question. The process of development of new organism from unfertilized female gamete is, okay, fertilize the process of development of what? The new organism with the help of unfertilized female gamete. Okay, it means that development of individual without any fertilization. Directly you can call it as what? Parthenogenesis. Okay, formation of the individual without parthenogenesis, without fertilization, right? Then 36th question. The type of gametic fusion occurs outside of the body of an organism is called, okay, andre if the gametes fuse outside the body of an individual, then it is called external fertilization, internal fertilization, exo-endo fertilization, endo-exo fertilization. It is very simple. If the gamete fuse inside the body, it is called internal fertilization. If the gametes are going to fuse outside the body, then they are called as external fertilization. Very simple questions are there because the chapter is the beginning or introductory chapter. Coming to the last question, 37. Every sexually reproducing organism starts the life from, okay, every sexually reproducing organism starts the life from what? Very simple, it is zygote, as you already know, okay, zygote, okay. By means of formation of zygote, a new individual will be formed or new life will be initiated, right? So zygote, so since you know that it is from zygote, option C and D will be deleted directly, and option A and B, whether the zygote is unicellular or multicellular. You already know that soon after fertilization, that means union of male and female gamete, zygote will be formed. So zygote will be always what? Unicellular in nature. So the option is unicellular zygote. Next one, that is 38. During embryogenesis, zygote undergoes what? That means during the formation of embryo, the zygote undergoes cell division. You already know. And of these options, where the cell division is? First option, there is no cell division. Second option, there is no cell division. Third option, there is no cell division again. Then the answer is fourth option, where cell division is there. That means for the formation of embryo from the zygote, what will happen? Cell division must take place. That is why cell division and cell differentiation will lead to the formation of embryo. And 39th question. In the embryogenesis, number of cells increases by, okay, that means during the embryogenesis, zygote will form the embryo. Zygote is single celled, embryo is multiple celled. So single celled zygote will form multi-celled embryo by means of what? Cell division. Then what type of cell division? It is mitosis, okay, because only during the gamete formation meiosis will be seen, except in gamete formation, in all the conditions the type of cell division is mitosis. So during embryogenesis also cell division will be taking place, that too particularly of mitotic cell division. And the last question is 40th. Diploid organisms produce haploid gametes by. Diploid organisms produce haploid gametes. That means from 2n to n. Okay, from 2n, that is diploid. From diploid, how the haploid gametes are produced? Very simple, as I have already told you in the 39th question itself. Okay, during the gamete formation, reductional cell division will take place. And what do you mean by reductional cell division? Nothing but the meiosis. So here what they have given options? Option A meiosis, option B reductional division, then option C mitotic division, option D both A and B. So the answer is both A and B, because meiosis and reductional division both are one and the same. So the option will be both A and B. So this completes the questionnaire about the first chapter, that is reproduction in organisms. Okay. In the next class, we will be discussing about the next particular chapter, that is sexual reproduction in flowering plants. Okay. Let us meet in the next class. Right. Thank you.